What's up, Eagles fans? Welcome back to the Film Room presented by Miller Lite. I'm Fran Duffy, joined by Eagles Hall of Fame wide receiver Mike Quick. And Mike, we're going to talk about a different group of pass catchers today, not the wide receivers, but the tight ends. And the way that we've split this up, we've got two guys who are big play, down the field threats, two guys that are more short intermediate threats that can offer help as a blocker, and then two guys that really kind of make their bones at the point of attack in the run game. But before we get into these guys, let's talk about the Eagles tight end room, because to me, I think you end this season in 2018, probably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL.
I think the Eagles have excellent tight ends. Of course, we're going to talk about these free agents, but boy, if you look at what they've done with Zach Ertz, with Dallas Goedert, you can't get much better than that. Now, I could see on the tail end, if you get another big guy that's just a blocker or primarily a blocker, because these guys are just phenomenal receivers at the position. And Dallas Goedert, don't sleep on him as a blocker.
No question. He absolutely got better throughout the course of his rookie season. That was the big question, why he fell to the second round, was people had concerns about whether or not he could win as a blocker.
Absolutely.
He put all those doubters to rest with his rookie year. All right, let's get into some big names here in the free agent market. Now, this is a former first-round pick, and Tyler Eifert from the Cincinnati Bengals has really had issues with injuries, but he is athletic and has the ability to stretch the seam at his best.
You know, they'll line him up in line sometime, and they'll also put him out wide, but his ability to separate, get down the field, and I love this, going up at the catch point and taking the football away. And tight ends, they're going to get it in traffic a lot. They have to have that ability, Fran, as you know.
Yeah, and he was a guy coming out of Notre Dame that was, comparable in a lot of ways to Zach Ertz. Very athletic, had the ability to win as a route runner. You see here what he can do in those contested catch situations. Outstanding job there at the catch point. Well, that's what Tyler Eifert can be. He's just had issues with injuries. So a guy that certainly has a lot to prove. Now, let's get to the next one here. This is a 10-year pro in Jared Cook from the Oakland Raiders. He's been around the league for a couple different teams. Most productive year this year, just under 900 yards, 6 touchdowns for the 10-year vet.
Fran, this is the today type of tight end that they're just a big wide receiver. Cook, you can line him up out wide, as you can see right there. He'll line up tight, but he is an oversized wide receiver. You watch him at the top of the routes and how well he's able to set up defenders and separate. I love this little stutter right here. A little stutter to the outside, gets that separation, move to the inside, catches the ball well with his hands, and a big guy like that can run away from people.
The acceleration in the open field, I mean, he looked like Dallas Goedert on that play.
Very impressive.
Let's get to the next player, and this is a guy that I feel has always kind of flown under the radar, and this is Lance Kendricks, former day 2 selection in the NFL draft out of Nebraska, I believe. And this is Kendricks lined up as a fullback, and he's going to release down the seam, a guy that lined up at a number of different spots and has won in the NFL.
Another modern-day tight end that does a lot of different things. H-back, he'll line up as a fullback, they'll line him up out wide. Remember the guy we had here, Trey Burton, that did so many things? He kind of reminds me of him in that they can use him in a variety of ways.
And then we're going to see one more. This is Luke Wilson playing for the Detroit Lions. He's a former Seattle Seahawk. You see him motioned into the wing here. Watch him here at the point of attack, Mike.
Variety. I mean, that's really what you're talking about when you talk about these tight ends and what they do today. Comes to the inside. It's not really a wham, but he's able to get a hat on the defender and just create running space.
Yeah, I think when you look at guys like Luke Wilson and Lance Kendricks and Jesse James, those are the kind of tight ends we're probably talking about here that fit in terms of this tight end room here in Philadelphia. Not necessarily a Jared Cook who's going to get paid a lot of money.
Well, as I said, all of these guys, they have to have variety. Tight ends are not just going to line up in line and block. Tight ends have to have so many different areas of expertise, and that's what we're seeing with this free agency group.
Yeah, and I think when you play with a lot of 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends like the Eagles do, that makes that third tight end spot even a little bit more important, because you don't want to throw the flow of your offense off if one of those guys gets hurt. So we'll see what happens there with the third tight end position. But for Mike Quick, I'm Fran Duffy. We'll see you next time here inside the Film Room presented by Miller Lite.